It's Friday, April 3rd, 2020. Digital Trends Live is about to start. Here's some of the topics we're covering on today's episode of the show. People were waking up in the morning to news that the release of the new Apple iPhone could be imminent. We'll let you know the details and the potential colors, storage, and name of the phone. And while SpaceX has been kicking in the front seat of the commercial space race, an incident last night could have ramifications for their premier Starship rocket. We've got video of what happened. Plus, it's Friday, and we have an incredible guest joining as Rebecca Black will virtually stop by to talk about her new releases, her YouTube series, and how COVID-19 is affecting her as an artist. And while we're looking forward to the weekend and watching all of the new streaming content available, Caleb Denison will have us thinking about the new TVs that are about to be released and why you may want to snag one at a really good deal. All of that and more on today's episode of Digital Trends Live. Well, hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate everybody who's tuning into the show. We broadcast live here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you trending tech headlines, news, interviews, discussions, and so much more. We're broadcasting live across a number of different platforms. We're on Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Dailymotion, Apple News, LinkedIn. We're on 2 different mobile apps. We're on a smart television app. We're at digitaltrends.com/live. We're in all of those places so that we can bring you these interviews, and we appreciate everybody who's tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Also, you can share in the show, drop in your comments, let us know what you think. But to start off, we always bring you what is trending in the news. So let's go to this. First one has to do with Google. A little bit of a coronavirus update. It's kind of what we all have to do here. But Google has released a new website, and we got a little bit of a preview of it in association with tracking where people are moving in this time of social distancing. So the website's going to be the COVID-19 Community Mobility Reports site. So it's going to show population data trends of 6 different categories: retail and recreation, grocery and pharmacy, parks, transit stations, workplaces, and residential. So the data will change over the course of several weeks, and they said even as recent as 48 to 72 hours prior. So it's going to cover initially 131 countries, as well as individual counties within certain states. And the reason this is important is that there's a lot of information, a lot of science behind the fact that social distancing is working, and this is kind of to track that, to see where people are at, to understand the data that's being brought into them. Now, they're making big claims here, too, that it's going to be anonymous. This isn't going to be personal information, but it does track as a whole where people are moving. So it's very important for the socially distant side of things. This is something that Google is doing with their information. Going from Google's site, which you can read more about at digitaltrends.com, you also have the New York Times, which came out with a similar kind of idea where they're tracking where mobile data is going to get an idea of how far people are moving. And the map that they showcased it shows a pretty stark difference between different sections of the country that do have stay-at-home orders and the ones that don't. And so it's something that as you see that and as we kind of gather this different amount of information that we're able to get from mobile data and where people are going, it's definitely a sign of what's working and what's not working. So it's an interesting time to have that kind of information. Again, the New York Times has a great map that you can take a look at, and you can read more about that at digitaltrends.com. Continuing on with some more coronavirus updates, just to talk about this, if you are out and you do need to go shopping, naturally a lot of people still need to go to the grocery store and take care of things, paying with a credit card, it no longer requires a signature. And this has been kind of this way for a while, but it's very much official now from MasterCard, from Visa, American Express, and Discover. They've all stopped requiring signatures on your payments. And I can speak from a personal level. I went and actually paid for something yesterday, and they did require a signature. And I have to say, in this time of social distancing, it felt kind of weird grabbing a stylus and signing on somebody's pad there. So this is something that they do not require a signature. So some stores say that they still want them. So it does depend on the store themselves may ask for it, but the credit card companies are saying no. And they're saying that there's enough security. This is the statement from them. There's enough security that they don't need that. They can track things with the chip. Some credit card companies are even recommending that the signature go away altogether on the back of the card. So that's where we're at right now. But of note, just as we see things change, that's something that you'll probably start noticing when you do go to purchase things. It could also bring in more Google payments, maybe more Apple payments. We'll have to see how that all works out. But that's something that they did announce in this time. So when you're paying with your credit card, you don't have to give a signature, according to the credit card companies themselves. And one other thing too, just to bring you some awareness of this, there are a lot of scams going on out there, and we've got a full write-up at digitaltrends.com too, to just kind of be aware of what to look out for for. There's a lot that's happening, a lot of people doing some phishing schemes, a lot of kind of nefarious things that always happen. When something bad is going on, people will try to take advantage, but be aware, be careful what sites you're clicking on. A lot of us kind of just need to take a second and look at this. We're in some unique times, I think we can all agree, and so maybe our guard's down a little bit. Don't let your guard down. Make sure that you're aware of what you're clicking on, because there are people out there trying to gather information on you. And just go to digitaltrends.com, follow up with this article that we have. It just kind of highlights some different things that you can look out for. So there's a little bit of an update right now on some coronavirus news. Naturally, it changes so rapidly. We'll keep you all up to date at digitaltrends.com. Continuing on here. So this is something that a lot of people were waking up to hear about, and we've heard rumors about this for a while, that Apple was going to release a new iPhone. And what is it going to be called? Well, it looks like, according to a leak, it's going to be called the iPhone SE, not the iPhone 9. There were a lot of rumors that they would go back, even though, we're on 10, 11, 12. I think 12 would be the one in September. Then they did skip the iPhone 9. They thought maybe that this would be what it would do. But according to the leak and rumor, is that it will be called the iPhone SE, and this is based on a couple of things. One of them being that Apple actually showcased a Belkin screen protector that can be applied to 3 iPhones, saying that's iPhone SE, the iPhone 7, and the iPhone 8. So that's something. So this video right here that we're seeing, that's not the current, that's not the actual phone. This is kind of showcasing the old SE phone, just to give you an idea of what it is. But what the SE is that's a mid-tier phone. And we do think it could be released today, according to some people, maybe even for sale on Sunday. But based on a report from 9to5Mac, they said that the 2020 iPhone SE would have 3 different models, a 64 gig, a 128, and 256, and likely available in 3 different colors. So I would imagine, I'm guessing we'll get some more information on this today. That's pure speculation on my part, but based on the number of rumors and leaks that we're seeing, there's a good chance we will. And if not today, definitely soon. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll keep you up to date at digitaltrends.com. All right. A couple other stories to keep you up to date on as we go through the news here, and then we'll get to break, and then we have Rebecca Black, who's going to be joining the show here imminently. First up, SpaceX. So the space industry continues on. A lot of projects are actually still going despite coronavirus. Some are having some setbacks, but SpaceX plans to continue forward with a lot of their tests. And this is one for the SN3. So this is the full Starship that they're going for. Now, this is the one that Elon Musk wants to use to take people to Mars. So they're going through a bunch of tests with this. There was actually, the plan was that if this was successful, this is what happened actually last night. You can see there, it didn't work out too well, was that they were going to attempt a 150-meter flight test as early as next Tuesday. Well, it didn't work out with this one. So this was the test that they had. It did implode, and there's certainly a little bit of a setback there. So they've been pushing hard to get this forward to make that happen, but that is what we're looking at right there. So that is the Starship. That is where we're at. All right, continuing on. Just one more quick update on news, and this is for everybody who's working at home, like me. I'm here in my living room. I know a lot of people are doing the same thing. We're all looking for content to watch. Well, HBO is offering up a ton of stuff for free. So you can watch things like Veep. You can watch Sopranos. You can watch several different movies that are going to be out on there as well. So Silicon Valley, 6 Feet Under, they're making it available for free. So this is part of an initiative that they have. They're calling it #StayAtHomeBoxOffice. It's kicking off today, so definitely go there. You can take a look at this. If you haven't watched any of those shows, great time to binge them and watch. Sopranos is the greatest television series of all time. Fight me if you think I'm wrong, but nonetheless, that's what it is. So you can read more about that at digitaltrends.com.
Hey, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It's now time for the product of the day.
All right, what we're talking about today is the Costway 6L Cool Mist Humidifier Air Diffuser. I just said a whole lot of things right there, but it's a humidifier. This means it's cleaning up the air for you, and it's an air diffuser. It's a really, actually, good deal that's going on right now. I'll tell you what the price is. Well, you can see it right there if you're watching this. It's a space-saving tower design, so it doesn't take up a lot of room. A lot of these will take up a big space. Still has a large water tank, 6 liters. It's adjustable for spray quantity and humidity control, so you can try to adjust it to however you like it, so up to 45 to 90% humidity, depending on what you want. It's also got the anion humidifier for better air quality. So this is something that actually provides millions of negative oxygen ions. So that sounds fancy. What it means is it's better air. And then you've also got a digital display, remote controls. It shows right there. You can set a timer for it. You can have it's pretty quiet. It's got LED lights. It's got 1, 2, 4, and 8 hours of timing functions. So a lot of different things that you can do with it. Really great deal that they have going with that. That's our product of the day. So we've got a link right there that you can click on to go directly there and pick that up if that's what you want. But on sale right now for $66. I would recommend that, especially since we're all working from home. Why not make our environment as good as possible? That's a way to do that. All right, we have a lot coming up here on the show. We've got Caleb Denison who's going to join us. We have Yeung from Flipboard for Tech Briefs. But up next, we have Rebecca Black joining the show. We're going to talk about her new releases. We're going to talk about her YouTube series. And we're going to talk about how COVID-19 is affecting her career. All kinds of things. We're broadcasting live. If you have questions, drop those in the chat. We'll be back here in just a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thanks for joining. I'm Greg Nibbler. I appreciate everybody who's watching. We broadcast live here every weekday, and we are broadcasting live on a number of different platforms, and we're all trying to figure out how to adapt to this new work-from-home standard that we are all going forward with. I'm here in my living room, but joining us right now is an entertainer who is also battling through this, but has some amazing things to talk about. She really needs no introduction, but nonetheless, it's Rebecca Black joining us. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I got to ask, so for you, adapting to this and changing things up, you're clearly very busy. What would you normally be doing right now if we weren't under quarantine?
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, it was crazy. So the day that, at least over here in LA, that things started getting really serious, I actually released a couple of songs that I love. And obviously those kinds of things, you're building up for months. So beforehand, I was all over the place trying to, just getting a million things done and getting everything. We had like a music video planned for a few days after, and there were just a ton of different elements. But now, I mean, I'm back home actually with my family in Anaheim, where I'm from. And I've just been spending time with them while I wait for this, as we all are. And I'm still,
right.
We're all trying to find the positives, right? And trying to use the time in ways that'll hopefully benefit us. And for me, like I feel like at least I have a responsibility to help my own community benefit and help them through this too. So.
And I think that's a really great use of it too, because we're finding, as much as this is a struggle for everybody trying to figure out how to balance things. And like you said, you had these 2 singles that came out, right when that's happening, and a music video shoot, and that just kind of puts a spoke in everything. Looking at that though, you're still finding ways that you can actually do some help and help people out, and finding creative ways to express yourself. And that's what I want to talk about, is one of the things that you're doing. You mentioned one of the charities that you're supporting or one of the groups that you're supporting, and you're having these Instagram live concerts. Can you walk us through that and what it's like putting something like that together?
Yeah, and obviously, like, on the grand scheme of things, like releasing a couple of songs, it's what I do, but there's obviously just so many bigger problems going on right now.
Right.
There always are, but yeah. So I've just like everybody else is, I'm trying to adjust to working completely from home. And every Friday, I've been doing kind of like a Friday happy hour live stream with my audience on Instagram. And this week, I'm really stoked for it because I'm partnering with an organization I've recently started working with, which is called Music Cares. And it's actually run by the Recording Academy, who hosts the Grammys and is in charge of the Grammys. And it's been really awesome to, kind of test different things out every week and get to not only talk to people directly, but I perform new songs. I have people on. Tonight, I think I'm going to be able to have some writers that were part of the songs Self-Sabotage and Closer, and to be able to talk about that. But really today, I'm stoked to be able to feel like I, not only am doing something here myself, but giving people who are looking for ways to get involved, be able to support something. Music Cares is basically a fund that helps all, musicians, big and small, mainly the smaller guys, to get through this, where obviously a lot of people are out of work and not able to do anything. So it's a really important organization.
Yeah, I think that's great too, that you're using your stance to actually help that out. And something like Music Cares, it's a lot of people need to remember, especially for artists, you're touring, that's where you make money, or selling albums. And if everything comes to a halt, there's not a lot that you can do. But finding creative ways like Instagram Live, I think is really interesting. And for you during this standpoint, I think as we're all trying to adapt to it and we're all figuring out different things that we like to do, when it comes to the tech side of things, I just wanted to ask you, what would you say is the one piece of tech you couldn't live without during this?
That's a good question. Probably my phone or my computer. I'm a computer girl. I've always been. And I am just this week, I used Zoom, which we're using right now, to do a session and write a song with a couple of writers that I work with all the time, Daniel Motti and Paris Carney. And so it really is a huge tool for me to be able to do what I do, and still hopefully come out of this with something that other people can take from. And yeah, going back to what you said off of Music Cares again, I'm really lucky to have a platform that I can still connect with my audience. But I know directly by some of these people I work with all the time, my musicians that I tour with right now obviously aren't able to do anything. So it's important that I take my platform to help those that don't have that right now, because not every musician can just pop on their Instagram Live and have the built-in audience to really help them through it. So yeah.
Right, and that's why it's great that you're doing that. And talking about the collaboration too, with some of these other artists that you're able to bring in, and I think it's again something new that we're all figuring out, and people are trying different things. Mm-hmm. And Instagram Live has definitely been a big boon for that. If there was one, say, artist that you could bring on to collaborate with on an Instagram Live video, who would it be?
That's a good question. Oh God, anybody. I love collaborating. Probably, honestly, my all-time person, it's so many people's all-time, but I just am obsessed with Lady Gaga. If I could get a hold of her, which I still don't think that would be, we're all at home here, but it's Gaga. Someone like her, but also there's so many incredible female artists. Christine and the Queens is a French artist who, she has a huge audience, but she is someone who I've really, as a fan, enjoyed the ways that she's kind of taken this time to give different things and just get, what's really nice right now is nobody has really anything to lose. And so you see people who you're so inspired by in their living room or in their bedroom and just trying to make do with the resources they have. So that's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see if we can get Lady Gaga in there. But
yeah,
I think it is kind of a unifying. We'll work on it. I think it is kind of a unifying thing, though. You're right, because everybody's just at their houses. Everybody has pretty much the same technology at their disposal, and so it's trying to figure out how to use it. Like, this is a corner of my living room. You know, you're in a bedroom right now. It's just, we're all kind of, it's leveling the playing field a little bit when it comes to that as far as what we have to work with. So that's why I think it's really interesting seeing people do things like what you're doing with Instagram Live. And I do want to ask, too, you do have your YouTube series, Blacking Out with Rebecca Black. Are you going to plan to continue any of those while you're here in quarantine? Do some virtual blacking out, I guess.
Yeah, it's been testing my skills as, you know, I've always been someone who's done almost everything myself, but with blacking out, we'd really begin to like up the production on that. But now, you know, you see everybody trying to just figure it out, but it's cool because everybody, you know, on people who guests I'm trying to get and guests I have planned and are reaching out to, like everybody's all, again, in this at the same time, doing this together. So I'm stoked to see not only how it comes together, it's something I'm working on right now, but also, you know, the people that I'm going to be able to have on, because everybody's really, again, interested in everything and looking for platforms to also speak out and say their piece or provide some sort of comfort on everything that's going on in the world right now.
We did get one more question that just came through, and I think this is probably something that's pertinent, again, with the leveling of the playing field since we're all at home. Do you have a favorite quarantine snack?
I have a huge sweet tooth. Anything cookies. I've been cooking a lot more, but I've also been cooking things that I really love to eat. Honestly, give me anything from goldfish to peanut butter and jelly to cookies. I love food, so anything.
All the snacks. I kind of agree. I'm the same way. Well, Rebecca, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on the show today. I really appreciate you taking some time, you know, to be here on the show and to talk about this. And I want to give everybody just a recap too. When can they watch your Instagram Live video and maybe a little bit of a preview to what's going on tonight?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Tonight it's at MS Rebecca Black on Instagram at 5 p.m. Pacific, at 8 p.m. Eastern. I will be live and I'll be playing music. I love to answer questions. Sometimes I have people from the audience on with me just to talk and, you know, communicate, have a conversation. And yeah, I think I'm going to have some really cool guests on it tonight too. So remember, the biggest part of it is that if you're looking for a way to get involved, if you're looking, you know, for also a source of entertainment, Music Cares is a huge part of tonight's live streams. So I'll have information on how to donate and get involved and support, and even just bringing awareness is such an important part of it all right now. So hope to see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be tuning in. Well, Rebecca, thank you so much. Again, really appreciate you being here on the show, and looking forward to what you're doing with this and maybe talking in the future about some of your other projects.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Stay safe, everyone.
You too. All right, Rebecca Black, right here on Digital Trends Live. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. You can, of course, hit subscribe on whatever platform you're watching on. So I want to remind you, if this is your first time watching the show, we're here live every single weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, with all kinds of interesting guests and technology talk, everything that covers a wide gamut here on the show. And so thank you for joining us. Coming up next, though, we have Mr. Caleb Denison. He's going to talk about televisions, because we're all watching a lot of streaming content, but the televisions we're watching them on are going to be getting updated soon. So he's going to explain a little bit about that. So that's coming up next. Stick around, back in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. It's Friday, and right now we have the one and only Caleb Denison, who's going to be joining us to talk about televisions because, you know, as we're all here working from home, streaming content from home, what are we watching those on? That is an important thing to decide, and I know there's some news that's coming up about that. Caleb, hello. Thanks for joining us once again. Where are you at right now in your house?
Good morning, Greg. I am in my recently converted mini home theater. This place has seen a lot of change in the last few days as I try and get some kind of a setup for doing video production that looks okay and is also isolated enough from the rest of the house that I can actually do this kind of stuff. So it's a little bit of a mess in here. What you don't see is all the mess that you don't see behind me. So yeah, it's been interesting times.
Yeah, I know. This specific shot here at my house, you do not want to know what else that I'm looking at here behind the scenes. But let's talk about televisions. So, you know, CES, we had all these announcements. Everything's seems stuttered and changed now, but there's still some stuff on the way. Walk us through what we have to look forward to here.
Well, I mean, and that's really what it's all about, Greg, is looking forward to something, because I know that right now things are tough, and I personally need something to look forward to when all of this craziness is over. I do want to say one thing. I am sensitive to the fact that there are millions of people right now filing for unemployment, and this is a really difficult financial time as well. So it's, you know, it can seem a little insensitive, I think, maybe talking about buying, making a big purchase when people really just, you know, maybe they're waiting for that stimulus check to keep the lights on. That's not, you know, fun money. But I do think that this is all going to end at some point, you know, and I think that we should all have something to look forward to. And I personally am very much looking forward to the TVs that are coming out in 2020. And the first thing I want to talk about is a concern that maybe they're going to be late because of all the supply chain issues that we've been talking about, here on DT Live and elsewhere, that things might be stuttered a little bit. But from what I understand, speaking to folks at LG and Samsung specifically, it looks like, you know, they've got shipments on the way. Typically, new TVs come out right around now, mid-April to mid-May is when most of the new stuff comes out. We do see some stragglers coming out in June or July, but we're still talking about within the next 2 or 3 months, the market is going to see a bunch of new TVs coming out. And I do think, you know, that there's going to be some fun stuff to buy. And for those of us who have been stuck at home watching a lot of TV, looking at that TV, thinking, man, I could definitely use an upgrade for as much time as I'm spending with this thing. The new 2020 TVs are extremely exciting.
And so, and I think that's, you know, again, like you said at the beginning there, you know, something to look forward to, something to think about, and the fact that these things are still coming. So, in particular, what are some specific brands, you know, maybe some of the ones that you're most excited about that you think people should keep an eye on?
Right. Yeah. Well, one of the things, before I get into specific brands, if you don't mind, one of the things that I want to point out is a lot of what's exciting about 2020 TVs is that many of them support HDMI 1.3, which may not sound sexy, but it opens up a whole bunch of new possibilities, especially for gamers, where you're going to see auto low latency mode, where it just automatically goes to the best gaming mode and reduces lag. Variable refresh rate, where you're not going to see so much screen tearing. What we're seeing basically is that 2020 TVs behave a lot like high-end gaming monitors, stuff that only gaming monitors used to do, TVs now do. And so whether you're connecting a PC or a console, or excited about the new consoles coming out, hopefully later this year, these TVs are particularly well suited for them. Getting to specific brands, I'm really excited to see what TCL's refresh of the 6 series is going to look like this year. We did see that at CES, and they brought their mini LED backlighting system to this TV, which basically means that they have thousands, tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of tiny, tiny LEDs as backlights. And that gives them really great control. And it brings LED TV, a conventional LCD TV, closer to OLED than we've ever seen before. TCL is also making that technology available at a surprisingly low price. So you do not have to spend an arm and a leg to get a premium TV anymore. That's another big thing for 2020. You're going to be able to get some amazing picture quality without necessarily spending upwards of $1,000. So more attainable, high quality picture is a big part of the story. Of course, I did mention OLED, and LG does have a new line of OLEDs coming out. The one that is going to make the most sense for the most people is the C10 OLED. Now, like the iPhone 10, they don't put C and then numeral 10. They put C Roman numeral X. So CX OLED is how you'll read it. This TV stands to bring unprecedented picture quality, but also at a lower price point when it first comes out than we've seen before. And the new user interface is super, super slick. It's very, very user friendly. It's got cool things like sports alerts. So you can put in your favorite sports team and you will get alerted to when that team is about to play their game. You'll get live score updates, and then it'll give you a final score and even take you to highlight reels automatically. You just put in whatever your favorite sports team is and you put that in, and it automatically gets you to that content. There's more than I could possibly go through. We're actually doing an LG OLED review very soon. So you'll get to learn more about that through our website and our YouTube channel. And then finally, I think Samsung's new QLED TVs bring some really useful innovations in that they not only will look really, really good, as they often do, but they also have new sound technologies that can detect when things are getting noisy in your home, and it can actually push the dialogue, the vocals out a little bit more so that you can hear what's being said, despite the fact that somebody might be running a vacuum or a blender or something in your house. And then as soon as that noise dies down, it EQs the sound curve so that it sounds normal. But I mean, and that's just one example of stuff that Samsung's bringing to the table. What we've seen is that a lot of these companies have figured out how to make really great picture quality. The prices are starting to come down. All these TVs are going to be outstanding for gamers, especially the LGs, because they freaking do everything the LG OLEDs do. But also new user-facing features that make it more enjoyable and more fun to use the TV. So we really are seeing some advancements this year, and I'm excited for these to come out. I'm excited to get to reviewing them, and I'm excited for people to ultimately be able to buy something new to enjoy in their home. And it's fun. Like I said, I think it's fun to look forward to that and think about that at a time when, we're spending a lot of time stuck in our homes and maybe feeling a little bit of cabin fever. Having something to look forward to is, I don't know, I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, cabin fever, I think, is something we're all going through right now. I mean, that's just the state of where we're at. But having something to look forward to is good. And plus, you mentioned the gaming side of things, too. Everybody's gaming more. Everybody's streaming more. I mean, that's where we're all turning to entertainment. And so these are the things that can actually make that even better. And like you said, we've got the reviews there. I'm really curious to know how you're going to review the LG television. Are you doing that at your house?
I'm not going to do it at my house, I don't think. That is one possibility. But like I said, I've already, this room, I have an ultra short throw projector and a 110-inch screen on the wall. To remove the projector and not be able to remove the movie screen doesn't make for like the best presentation in terms of video. And of course, video is a big part of our review plan. I'll be able to review the TV and publish that on the website no matter what, but I really do want to shoot some great video of that. So we are coming up with some clever ideas about reviewing TVs with social distancing rules. And myself and some of the video producers have been talking about go ahead and going down to the office. We are allowed to go to the office. We just need there to be nobody there, which these days is not a problem. And really just figure out a way to shoot a TV without the both of us being in the same room at the same time. Frankly, we can maintain like a 6-foot distance, which we know is just sort of an advisory. But I think in the spirit of social distancing and keeping everybody safe. The idea is really not to touch anything that the other has touched, and really keep really good distance so that there's minimal risk of any kind of transmission. And so we're considering giving that a go, and seeing how that works out. As always, safety is number one for us. We want everybody to know that. We also want to bring the best possible products to people. So we're just kind of working out a plan to figure out how we can best do that right now.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are doing amazing. I mean, it is. And we're all figuring it out as we go along and trying to work through all this to make sure that we're delivering stuff. And that's what we do here at Digital Trends. We want to make sure that you get quality content no matter what, good reviews, good shows, everything. And Caleb, you are working hard at that. And thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to when we can be in studio again. But nonetheless, Caleb, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you as well, Greg. I can't wait to be back together and doing the normal thing. It will come in time.
Indeed. All right, Caleb Denison, there he is. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and check out all of those reviews that he was talking about at digitaltrends.com. We've got a lot of info about what's coming up with that, but we need to take a break. So coming up here in just a bit, we've got Yeung from Flipboard for another edition of Tech Briefs, where we recap some of the biggest stories in tech. But also, I made a video just about webcams. So we're all looking for different ways to make sure that we're broadcasting our best. So we've got some tips, some tricks, some good webcams. We're going to show you that next, and then we'll be back with Ken. So stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. So now that you're working from home, just like I am, it's probably a good idea to get a solid webcam, which makes you look your best. I have a few pro tips for how to make your setup as good as it can be, and a couple of suggestions on which webcam might be right for you. First things first, it's important to make sure your camera angle and framing look good. Through your computer's camera app, you can preview what it will look like and make adjustments well ahead of meeting time. Generally speaking, placing the camera on top of your monitor will look best, and sit 2 or 3 feet away. Lighting is also important, so make sure there's a nice soft source of light shining on you. If you have some blinds giving you tiger stripes, or it looks like you're sitting in a dungeon where people can't see your face, it's time to readjust things. Possibly move where you're at in the room, or toy around with setting up lighting behind the camera to illuminate your face. Next, take a look at your background. No one's going to expect you to be on a professional set like me, clearly, but you probably also don't want to let anything unsightly appear in the shot. Please don't show off your bathroom or have dirty laundry hanging off of your bookshelf either. For example, this is a corner of my actual living room, but you don't want to see what the rest looks like. Obviously, set yours up however you can, but do pay attention to what others are going to see behind you. Now, when all else fails, go to the virtual background. Many video conference apps let you add a fake background of your choosing. Again, test this out offline to see if your camera can handle this. While people on the other end of the call won't be able to detect that you haven't taken a shower in a while, they will see if you haven't taken a razor to your face or getting laissez-faire with makeup. If that doesn't matter too much, then hey, you have some pretty cool coworkers. But when looks do matter, don't cheat on your personal hygiene routine. It'll show up on camera. As for which webcam is right for you, we have a few favorites to recommend. The Logitech C920S, the Razer Kiyo, and the Logitech Brio 4K. Our favorite overall webcam is Logitech's C920S. It supports full HD 1920 by 1080 resolution during Skype conferences and a 1280 by 720 resolution using Apple's FaceTime, Facebook Messenger, and more. If you're simply recording video, you can also take advantage of the higher full HD resolution. Other advantages are automatic low light correction, 2 integrated microphones with automatic noise cancellation, and a 78-degree field of view. There are also downloadable software options for motion detection, controls for pan, tilt, and zoom, and controls for capturing video and photos. For gamers and product streamers, we recommend the Razer Kiyo. It offers up to 1080p resolution and 30 frames per second and an autofocus component that comes in handy when moving closer to the cam or adjusting its position. The Kiyo is also compatible with OBS and other popular platforms for customizing your streaming setup just the way you like it. But the real draw here is the light ring circling the webcam to provide extra illumination. The 5600K light is easily adjustable via the bezel. Simply twist it like adjusting a camera lens to control the brightness levels. It's designed to work well in low light settings when necessary. If you're looking for a 4K solution, the Logitech Brio is the camera for you. It supports 3 resolutions for video calling and provides a default field of view of 90 degrees, but you can adjust the camera to 65 and 78 degrees using Logitech's software. The camera provides a 5x digital zoom when using the full HD resolution, 9 megapixel still image resolution, an external privacy shutter, and built-in omnidirectional microphones with noise cancellation. You can mount the camera on a desktop monitor, laptop screen, or use the universal clip to mount the device on a tripod. Hello, this is Digital Trends Live. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. And it is Friday, which means it's time for another edition of Tech Briefs, where myself, Greg Nibbler, am joined by Ken Yeung from his remote location, undisclosed. We don't know where it is, but nonetheless, Ken is here. Ken, thanks for joining me.
Hey, Greg, nice to see you again wait, aren't you right next door in the other room?
Shh. Don't tell them about that. That's we can't have that known.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. We'll keep that to ourselves. All right. So Ken, let's talk about what's going on in the news. And certainly, over this last week, there's a lot that's happened. It's changing so quickly, but definitely connecting online is something that's a huge trend. And Zoom has had a huge last couple of weeks, going from, I believe it was 10 million daily users in December to 200 million reported daily users here currently, or at least as of a couple of days ago. I mean, huge growth, but with that has come a lot more scrutiny, and they've had several different people looking into security concerns and some issues that they've been having. Can you walk us through what some of those concerns were, and what's been going on with them?
Yeah, there's been a whole litany of issues at play with Zoom. And for anyone that's not familiar with Zoom, I mean, it's a web conferencing service similar to Blue Jeans and WebEx and those type of things. Primarily, it's used for businesses to have these virtual meetings for those that are working from home or remotely, or having can't be in a same physical location as everybody else in that party. But obviously, in this age of self-quarantine, self-isolation and coronavirus, we are all we can't be together. So that's how Zoom has really taken off. And it's what's interesting is that the company is taking it from a different perspective from typical enterprise software. Instead of going straight to the IT folks, they're starting from the ground up. They're starting with the workers themselves, as opposed to getting the necessary vetting and approval from those in IT. But of course, with that comes some issues as well, is what we're talking about today in terms of privacy and security. So with a lot of these companies that are now getting a lot more prominent in terms of usage, more scrutiny is going to befall them. And so with Zoom, researchers have found out that, look, the video calls are not as encrypted as what you thought they were going to be. There's also privacy in terms of they're sharing data with Facebook. They're using that data to figure out who you are on LinkedIn, and to tap into your LinkedIn profile. There was some some issues with their Mac OS installer. So there, and I think there's also this issue of like the FBI, FBI field office in Boston has even issued a warning saying, look, your video calls could be infiltrated by hackers, right? So there's a lot of these Zoom is really much under the microscope right now. The CEO has issued basically a mea culpa this week and said, look, we're sorry, we're going to spend the next 3 months focusing on privacy and security. And to a certain degree, like they didn't really anticipate this. I think there's this really caught them off guard. Although to a certain degree, if you're doing this type of stuff, you should be focusing on privacy and security.
Well, I think that's a couple of things there too. Just with that with Zoom, I mean, one, he did say in his statement, he's like, we originally launched as an enterprise platform. We didn't realize how many consumers will be using it. We're adapting, but you're right. Every company should have security as part of their ethos, and definitely with the encryption thing, if you're not doing it, don't say that you're doing it. So yeah, it's interesting how they're responding, but they did say that they're going to be working on it. So we'll see where it all goes. I know we've got lots of articles at Digital Trends and Flipboard that people can take a look at, if you want to dig into it a little bit more and be aware of what some of the concerns are. So we have that going on with Zoom. Then we have, let's switch gears to something else, to some more entertainment side of things. As we are all working at home, we're connecting via Zoom and different platforms like that, but also people are gaming more, and Amazon is jumping into that fray as well with their, so they've got their cloud gaming platform. It's Project Tempo. Is one of the things that they have coming in, a sci-fi first-person shooter, Crucible. We've known about Crucible for a while, but now it sounds like it's going to be released probably in May is when it's going to be coming out. What do we know about their new push into this?
So, I mean, it's, I think a lot, I don't think it should be surprising anyone that Amazon's moving into the space. I mean, they've been, pretty popular in terms of streaming games. I mean, Twitch, anyone's heard of Twitch? I mean, that's basically a good dominant platform right there. But now this time they're actually going to be the game makers. Jeff Bezos has created a studio called Relentless. And so the first game that's going to be coming out of it is Crucible. It's a sci-fi first-person shooter game. That one's going to be coming out, as you said, later this year, probably in May. Then they also have another one called New World, which is a massive multiplayer online game, which I'm kind of interested to see. Is it kind of like a World of Warcraft or a Civilization type of play? I'm kind of fascinated by that. Certainly with AWS, with Amazon Web Services, Amazon has a lot of potential in terms of holding up that infrastructure. And there's been a lot of comparison in terms of the platform that these games are going to be on. Project Tempo, codenamed Project Tempo, is comparable to Google Stadia and Project and what Microsoft has as well. So when you actually look at it, it's like the games are going to be pretty cool, and who has the biggest catalog or the better catalog of games, right? But then it's also who's going to have the better infrastructure. So you either deal with Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, or AWS, right? And which one's actually going to hold up? We all know that there's some issues in terms of streaming on Google Stadia, and which we covered previously on Tech Briefs. So will Amazon run into that same issue in terms of destroying the Amazon Fire, the set-top boxes or anything like that, or can it actually hold up and continue to power that? I think it's a good time for them to announce that. I wish they would probably have rolled it out now, especially as we're all kind of stuck at home and we can't get Nintendo Switches and play Animal Crossing with everybody else. So it's kind of kind of interesting to see when that comes out, if we are still going to be in this work from home type of situation.
Yeah, and I think probably, there's a good chance we will be, but yeah, you're right. We don't know. Things change so quick. One thing with Amazon, though, with AWS, I feel like they're going to have a really good infrastructure to make that happen. They also have the rights to everything Lord of the Rings, and apparently they have a big Lord of the Rings game or massive online game in the works for this, so or multiplayer game. So it should be interesting what they can do, because they certainly have the money to buy a lot of franchises. But if they make a really great Lord of the Rings game, I'm in. I mean, they'll get me in just by that. But that's something that Amazon anywing working on right now. So we'll see when that comes out. Okay, so going on to one other thing here too. I know we need to get through these. Talking about entertainment, and certainly there's no athletics going on anymore because they're all shut down. They can't have those kinds of things happening. But a lot of different leagues and organizations are turning to esports for that. And there's a tournament that's going to be going on today, an NBA 2K players-only tournament with 16 different NBA players, all ranked 1 through 16 based upon their rankings in the game, are going to be starting this tournament off. It starts today. It's airing live on ESPN, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So they're airing it on all of those. And they're going to have this tournament going on, which I hope they're going to have them mic'd up. But I think it's a unique way that we're seeing a lot of different sports leagues go into this and try to adapt and bring some kind of entertainment to it. And I, for one, I mean, I'm an NBA fan, so I want to see an NBA game. But if I can hear these guys talking smack to each other, I'm into this. I like this idea.
Of course. I mean, I think that's the whole thing, right? Is if we're playing against friends, of course, there's going to be a lot of trash talking, right? But you imagine like there's a lot more. There's certainly a lot more trash talking live at the games. But as people that are watching that aren't there in person, that don't have the courtside seats, like we don't hear those type of things. So they're not as mic'd up, right? So but now we'll be able to hear that. But it's less about the adrenaline rush.
In theory, too. I guess.
Yeah. True, but I mean, you're still going to hear like Kevin Durant talk, trash talking DeMarcus Cousins. They were on the same team previously, so it's kind of it's like that jovial trash talk, bragging rights type of thing, right? But you're right. NBA is they're going to be they're getting into esports, very similar to the NFL and other leagues that have kind of done that. The NFL did an esports type of tournament earlier this last month, and so this month now it's the NBA's turn. And so, right, I think like 16 players, each player gets 8 teams, and it's going to go on for a round of 8. Basically the first 2 rounds are single elimination, and then the semifinals and the finals are going to be best of 3 wins. So, and the winner actually, I mean, this is all for the players, is all for bragging rights, but ultimately for the charity of the player's choice will win. The winner will get like $100,000 to give to that charity. So this is it's also for a good cause. It's to keep people keep players kind of really entertained, but also to give people who are like wondering, what am I supposed to do on the weekends? What am I supposed to do at night after work? I need to decompress and get away from constantly worrying about what's going on in the world and work. I need to focus on sports and get that fixed. This is a good way to do that, to kind of hopefully build a new offering once sports comes back and the NBA comes back. Will we have, you and I were talking about this yesterday, will you have the players on the course, and then those that are sitting on the bench that don't get enough playing time, will they just go out to the back and start playing esports? So you're now watching esports, that team play on esports on Twitch, but then also now seeing it actually happen live and seeing how they come, they battle it out.
It'll be interesting how it all shakes out after this, because I think, you have NASCAR that's doing it too. I think they're going to run the rest of their course, I believe, this year. It's all changing really quick, but NASCAR, F1 is doing it, and other sports leagues are all going to this too. And how it all shakes out, what the ramifications will be once we do return to normal. I think this is going to be a part of that ethos when it comes to sports. And I think even if it goes back to the completely normal, this is still going to be a part of it. But it'll be interesting to see. And I know we're done on time. And Ken, I want to say thank you. I want to remind everybody, if you're watching live, we have a podcast version of this. So hit subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Just look up Tech Briefs, and then we'll give you a little 10-minute-ish recaps of what the biggest news in tech is. But you can always follow up at Digital Trends and Flipboard. Ken, always good seeing you. I'll talk to you next week.
Likewise. Take care.
You too. All right, Ken Yeung right there from Flipboard. So here's the thing. I want to tell you about something right now. So you're watching this live. I appreciate it. Hit subscribe wherever you're watching. Hit the subscribe button. That way we get the notifications when we go live. But I got some exciting stuff to tell you about. So number one, thanks for joining us for today, because we had Rebecca Black on. Thank you to Rebecca Black for joining us. Of course, Ken and Caleb, and we had all the news for you. But coming up next week, let me tell you this. This is quite a lineup that we've got, and this is just to start the week off. So on Monday, we're going to have Dennis Quaid here on the show. Dennis Quaid will be zooming into my living room, which is weird, but with just that concept. But it's the subject is awesome. So it's Dennis Quaid and his co-founder Jared Gutstadt to talk about their podcast content production studio and his new interview series podcast, The Denisance. The Denisance. Dennis Quaid will be joining us here on the show. But that's not all. How many of you out there watched Tiger King? I mean, probably everybody, right? Well, do you remember Joe Exotic's first husband? Well, we're going to be joined by him. John Finley from Tiger King will also be here on the show next week. So that is going to be a very interesting interview. I mean, there's nothing bigger than Tiger King right now when it comes to streaming content. And John Finley is going to be on the show from Tiger King. So that's just 2 more guests. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's joining us. A huge shout out to Jess Serba, our booking producer, who has been knocking it out of the park, and as well as our entire Digital Trends Live team and everybody out there who's working remotely. We appreciate it so much, and we appreciate you tuning into this show. I want you to hit that subscribe button. I know I say that a lot, but that way you get the notifications and it just pops up whatever platform you're on normally. Boom, there it is. Get it right there. Almost spilled my coffee here to close out the week, but I didn't. And I want to say thank you to everybody. Once again, that's it. I'm done. I'm Greg Nibbler. I'll see you right back here on Monday with more Digital Trends Live.